Okay, this is still going to be your, you know, basic parabola. Uh, I'm going to go after two topics this time rather than one. So far I showed you the ax squared, and then uh, add the plus k part. Um, what I'm going to go after now is two things. What about the case where a is greater than negative 1, greater than just negative 1, um, and a is less than 1, which causes the shape of the parabola to go from that to expand out. Why did that not change color? There we go. To expand out. Okay. And give you a result that's going to be more like that. Okay. Uh, the closer the a is to 0, and by closer, I'm talking about the good old number line. Yes, we're back at the number line. This is, algebra, college algebra, and the number line was what, first, second grade, um, and we're still using it. So here's 1, here's negative 1, and over here is some really, really small number that's almost 0, but it's not 0. And here's another really small number. Again, almost 0, but not 0. Well, the closer you get in here to 0, the wider this goes out. And that is a little bit of a concept for you to wrap your brain around, but I think it will be worth it to think on that for a while, when you get into these. So my random problem generator, which is called my brain, I'm going to say that y equals negative. This is the other part I'm going to do. Let's reflect it across the x-axis. So negative, and let's say 1/3, and then we got our x squared, and let's go plus 1, just 1. Okay, so we're gonna just do the table. Furniture works. Okay, 0, so 1/3. Oops, this is not 1/3. Have to remember, I have a negative. Do not forget your negative when making your table. It will really mess up the results. Okay, so I've got 1/3, 0 squared plus 1. Well, that's all 0. All of that becomes 0. Equals 1. So that's my y-intercept. 0, 1. Okay. 1. Negative 1/3, 1 squared plus 1 equals, well, negative 1/3 times 1 squared. Well, 1 squared is 1. Negative 1/3 is negative 1/3. So it's negative 1/3 plus 1. Well, negative 1/3 I can always write as negative 1/3 plus 3/3 is just another way of saying 1, which the end result is 2/3. Yeah, real nice friendly number. Welcome to college math. They like playing with odd fractions and other stuff. Okay, so down here my 2, so negative 1/3, 2 squared plus 1 equals, well, now I've got negative 1/3 times 4, so I end up with negative 4/3. Okay, plus, let's see here, plus my 3/3, so I end up at negative 1/3. And I think I got enough space here for my graph. Let me see what happens when I use oh man, I went too high up. Okay, and yes, that was the Khan Academy video. Yay, that works pretty well. I'm using a postcard as a ruler, just to help me get a little straighter line. Okay, if I go up here and I say this is 1 and this is 1, 2, and I say that this is negative 1. I've also got my negative 2, negative 1. Okay, over here, 1, there's my half, but about there's 1/3, there's 2/3, there's 1/3, there's 2/3. Okay, so now I've got some approximate values. On 0, I was at 1. Okay. At 1, I was at 2/3. Which means that at negative 1, I'm also at 2/3 because of symmetry. And then at 2, I was at negative 1/3. Right on top of my 2. I always love it when that happens in the graphs. Okay, so these are my points, and you'll notice that the negative has reflected it across the x-axis, or it's inverted the shape is another way of saying this. I've heard people call this a negative reflection, but that's not necessarily an accurate term. So let me draw these in. So now I've got my gentle curve. And my gentle curve. Just was confirm and back up those points so you'd see them. And to make your professor happy, do not forget 2 comma negative 1/3 negative 2 comma negative 1/3 1 comma 2/3 negative 1 comma 2/3. You'll notice I did not do 0.667 or oops, yeah, 667 or a 0.6 repeating or anything like that. No, I'm using an actual accurate value because that's what they want 95% of the time. In college math, they will actually tell you very, very specifically when they want an estimated value, because the vast majority of the time they want an accurate value. But there you go. That's my new concept for today, is 1, widening it rather than narrowing it, and 2, inverting it to go the opposite direction. And again, I've just offset it from 0 with just a simple +1. This is where you will begin your graphing in of parabolas, will be with things like this. And the next thing that you would look at is almost exactly the same. However, it's x equals a y squared. And maybe plus h. Which, to be honest, all that's going to be is that. And if it's inverted with a negative, that. And I'll let you think about that for a little bit. But it really is the same, because all you're going to be doing is making a table and finding values and just doing the same thing.